Hello, everyone. I'm Christina, and today we are going to discuss how to survive when the grid goes down.
Hey guys, and welcome to Christina with my friend Christina. My name is Roderick Chappelle, and I have a channel called Plant Based Homestead Prepper, where we make prepping fun. We talk about the food shortages, we talk about prepping and prepping on a budget. So when you get finished watching Christina, come on over and check out Plant Based Homestead Prepper. Back to Christina.
You see, this generation, the younger ones, don't necessarily remember how to live off of the land without electricity or even running water. Or, you're so convenient for us to go to the doctor and get those medicines from the pharmacy. But we are going to end up going back to a time where our great grandparents lived in, basically, maybe our great great grandparents, okay? And so I had a lot of access to my maternal grandmother and her mother and her mother. My great great grandmother was still alive when I was a teenager, and I spent time with all of them. And they were still living very much like that. They had electricity and they had a washer and dryer, but they were still hand washing their clothing, okay, and hanging it out on the line. But I wanted to go over some things that might kind of get your mind jogging as to some things that you might be able to do during times like this, especially extended times, all right? Um, Besides learning how to filter water and salt water, fresh and salt, okay, because that's a must, okay. You're gonna want to be able to know how to start fires and do it safely. We don't want to burn everything down, okay. You're gonna want to know how to wash those clothes on your hands. You can do it in buckets, okay. And a friend of mine brought me this detergent soap from Honduras, right? And you wash your clothes with it, okay? It's really rough in texture, strong smell, just like detergent, but it's in a block, but it's called Max, right? You just rub it on your clothes and you just take those clothes and you rub it. I thought this would be interesting to show everyone that I just got today. But I'm going to keep that in my supplies, for that day I am washing clothes in that bucket with a stick to agitate it, and you hang it on the line outside. But in the cold days, you have to hang them inside, all right? And it can't be in a cold room either. They just won't dry, right? So there does have to be a heat source. A lot of people are going to want to install wood burning stoves, okay? Some people have propane heaters. Some people have candle, tea, garden pot heaters, clay pot heaters. Um, you're going to have to figure out how to deal with your trash. My grandmother had a barrel, a metal barrel, and she would still have to separate out the canned the canned trash, because it didn't necessarily burn the same, and it's not really wise to burn glass either, so you have to be careful with that. Um, you will be scavenging for the materials that you need now. You'll be surprised. There's these third world countries now, they've got such a plastic problem that they just like melt the plastic down and make roof tiles and floor tiles. You could build a house with all the plastic they found and melted down. I think they added sand with it, but I mean, that's just an example of scavenging for materials, wood, that you might need to burn for, heat, charcoal, wood ash, but you will have to scavenge, and try not to destroy things, but it just seems to me like there'll be just plenty out there to kind of go through to help you build what you need to. Um, trade, trade. That's going to be a really big deal. I have, thanks to a friend of mine, Crazy Christian, redneck veteran, and he sent me several, um oh gosh, what's it called? It's called Chew, and it's in these round dills. He sent me like 4 or 5 of them in a pack, and that'd be perfect for me to trade, in a situation, that's wonderful. Also, you're going to be needing to make some of your own products. And I wanted to just kind of highlight here, this is lemon extract, okay? And it's little bottle of vodka with some lemon peels put in it. And I labeled it, for when I made it and what it is. And 6 weeks after you've put this concoction together, you've got high grade lemon extract, okay? Here I saved an oil of Olay bottle, and it was for skincare, but it's got this little pump. It's awesome. And what I did is I added earlier in the year mint with olive oil, and this is good for your hair and your skin. It only takes like 2 or 3 months for it to be ready, and this was made back in March. So making products, okay, and when you do stuff like that, that's also good for trade. Like, just if you had a citrus tree, or you have, you can trade maybe some alcohol for some lemons and still be able to make that extract and maybe even sell it, so you might want to save your bottles, your little bottles, if that's just something you're interested in. And the extract, you can also, instead of lemon peel, you can use mint leaves or vanilla bean. It's pretty awesome. Yes, hygiene is going to be a big deal, okay? A lot of disease and plagues break out in times like these, so you're going to have to remember to keep your hands clean. And that goes back to water. You got to have clean water. If you do anything surgical, like taking out a tooth or sewing someone up, make sure that your tools are clean and that you clean them after. Okay, don't go patient to patient. Just be super careful, with how clean that you are. And again, you can make your own soap from wood ash. There are plenty of videos out there. Please do look those up. All right. Clothing will become an issue because, again, you're not going to have these clothing department stores to go to and just get things off of the rack. So you're going to find yourself patching things up. And what my grandparents used to do is they used to save clothes that we had grown out of. Maybe they were torn or whatever. Some things they made rags, but the nice stuff that they really liked with the prints, they would cut squares out of it and make quilts, patchwork quilts. All right. Um, Sanitation also. A friend of mine brought up baby diapers. And of course, we're not going to be able to get Huggies and Loves. The way we used to do it is cloth diapers, pins, and a plastic over still, okay? And you just potty train those kids as fast as you could, okay? Um, Female Hygiene Monthly, that's what they called a sanitary napkin with clips. It was washable. Gonna have to stay clean, 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 clean. A lot of you might have to shave your hair down, because lice might become an issue. All right. But hygiene is going to be very, very important. Preserving food. So you're going to want to have jars, mason jars. I mean, not just mason jars, but like actual jars. Like I've got a few glass ones with the metal lid, and it's kind of just airtight. And it's not a metal lid, but it's like one of those kind of clamps on the outside, and it's glass. And I can put anything in there, like the sun-dried tomatoes that I dried out in the sun this summer, or when spring comes and the dandelions come up, I can grab those flowers and collect them for like tea, and have them in those jars, or just whatever, they're just good to keep certain size jars and certain jars, because you just never know what you're going to need those things for. But as far as preserving, okay. And when it comes to cooking, a lot of people have electrical. Say, you've got propane, but even that'll run out. And what we would do is we had barbecue pits, and a lot of people actually will dig a little pit in the ground, put stones around it, and cook their food there. All right. If you want to cook food, I mean, you can make your own fishing poles. You can also make traps to catch crabs and crawfish. There are YouTube videos about that. Go check those out. They're not mine, I'm saying, but how to catch things like in a river, with like PVC pipe or bamboo, and a little hole dug. You can do that, and come back to your food. cutting grass. Okay, you say you may have a lawnmower, but you can't get gas for it. So you have what is a scythe. What a Grim Reaper uses, or like the '50s lawnmower with the blades on it that you just push, and you're gonna want to keep that grass down because these snakes are gonna come in. Okay. And not only are they scary to people like me, even if they're totally harmless, they are terrifying. Anyway, they also eat your chickens, okay? And they can bite you, and just no. We just want to keep the grass down, okay? We don't want things like poison ivy and poison oak starting to take over, all right? Just think about that. You're gonna want to have some kind of machete, something, all right? Lights. Um, Historically, people have used kerosene lanterns. So you can find those at Walmart still, and they've got the kerosene nearby. Okay, it's in the camping section. It's really relatively cheap. Okay, they're light fixtures, that you can just stick up on your wall, and they just require some like AA batteries. And the best thing though would be like solar. Okay, in the summer, you may not have air conditioning, but you can have your own fans, like the Chinese fans. Um, in the winter, you're going to have to layer your clothing, okay? And socks are going to be important, but when it comes to that layering, you want your flannel layer, and then you have maybe two pairs of pants, and then you have a couple of shirts, and a sweater and a coat. Make sure that you remember that heat comes out of your head and your feet and your hands. Okay, you want to keep those, okay? Your ears, your nose, your mouth wrapped up, because that's where that cold air gets in. You start getting bronchitis, pneumonia, and that's when you don't have, like, just say if you had no heat, okay? You would want to dress like that. You would want to layer your clothing. And people that are familiar with cold areas, they already know that. But like, say you're in the South and we're going through a bitter winter, a lot of you might not know that. Okay. um we can use propane heat, candle heat, like I said. But yes, you can make your own. So battery backup, I've got a battery backup right here on the front of my RV. And when the lights go out around here, I'm like the only unit out here that still has lights on. you know, and everybody just kind of comes over and congregates in my yard and talks and chills until the lights come back on. But I'm usually the only one because I have battery backup. Okay, just things to think about, because getting spare batteries is not just about the ones that fit. Small things. An actual car battery will run at least the lights in this house and some small things. But also, communities, I hear, will be better as long as they're working together. It'll be easier to have a community. Because I remember my grandma always said, in hard times we always helped each other out. Okay, and I believe that's still going to be true. Um, you're going to be wanting to think about plant medicine like aloe vera, rose petals. When you put them in, water that you've boiled, it's still hot, but the fire's off of it. You put rose petals in there, and I usually add that as part of like an herbal tea, with like mint, green tea bag, honey, lemon, as an herbal remedy. But the rose petals help bring down high fevers. Okay. And a lot of people think that apple cider vinegar has a lot of really great uses. There are YouTube videos that'll tell you about that, but I would have that in my supply kit. Definitely think about that. I've got aloe vera. I suspect I'm going to be running into a lot of burn victims, because that's what God put on my heart, was to have that aloe vera growing. And I do. It's getting beautiful. And then talking about, like right here, this is my avocado tree. It's about a year old right now from seed. And I brought this girl in because it's below 50. I don't like the weather conditions. And I'm going to make sure that, depending on which plant it is, and the temperatures, I'll bring certain summer tropical plants in. Okay. And she's really sensitive, so she gets to stay in for a while. But it's okay. I have I have a couple of indoor grow lights, that I keep specifically for the winter for days like this because they still need to have sun. But I think she's getting beautiful. She's about 3.5, 4 feet tall, because she's I'm sitting down. She's pretty tall and she's behind me. But this is what happens within a year of seed growing for avocado. Now I'm keeping it in a pot right now because she's so little, she's so young that I don't want to plant her too early, you know. I want to get her in maybe a bigger pot next year and just keep her growing. And eventually, when it's big enough, I'll transplant this into the ground, but not now. Okay. Also, you're gonna have to think with mowing your grass, you're gonna have to think about those manual tools if you're solely relying on an electric can opener or an electric water pump or whatever. You have to think about anything electrical just will not work. Okay. You're going to have to get those manual tools. You're going to get to the point where you won't be able to use your trucks, motorcycles. So you're going to think bicycles. Okay. Or else you're going to really end up being on foot. Okay. And then foraging. There will be berries. There will be good mushrooms that you can have, nuts falling off of trees. Okay. Don't don't be afraid to look around. We've got wild blackberries that grow. I mean, it's just become familiar with the territory that you live in if you're not already familiar. And I just wanted to really just get your mind really, if you I'm sure a lot of you might have thought of this already, but you know, some things maybe you haven't. This will give you just a better chance to as because we're to get ready because I feel this urgency. It's every day. It never lets up that something's coming sooner than I think. And like with this soap that I got today, it's like it was sent to me because it was just last night. I was talking to a friend of mine and we were talking about how we're gonna hand wash clothes, and uh I had just been given 4 eggplants from a neighbor, just given 4 eggplants, and I'm not going to eat all 4 of them, and I know this. So I called up my friend. I said, "Hey, I want to give you 2 of these eggplants," and he ends up giving me this this bar of laundry soap for hand washing, and I was just like, I was just talking about this, and those it didn't cost me anything because eggplants were given to me the day before, so God is sending me these things now. It's like the urgency isn't just in my heart, it's coming from outside now. It's just things are starting to come in. So I've been spending a lot of time wrapping my pipes, still like the hose that's from my house to the spout. I'm trying to make sure I wrap that up. I've been spending a lot of time doing that, just getting ready. So that's all for now. Please leave your comments. Please leave your likes. I hope you subscribe. And God bless all of you. I will talk to you soon. Bye.